Yeah.
Right. Okay, remarkably, we seem to be on time, so we'll finish at 6:10, like as billed in the programme, which is good. We're going to be talking for the next little while the race in the OTT streaming market in Europe. To help do that, I'm joined by Marco Hellberg, who's Managing Director of M7 in Germany. Next to him is Antonella Dominici, who is SVP of Streaming, South Europe, Middle East and Africa for Paramount. We have Ross Appleton, who's Director of Operations and Streaming at ITV, and Malta Probst, who is Chief Product Officer and Fiction with Blue Entertainment. And welcome, everyone. Let's maybe start off by a brief explanation. This is the what do I do all day question, I suppose, really. But a brief explanation of your role within your respective companies. So I'll start at the far end with Malta.
Yeah, hi everybody. I'm overseeing Blue Entertainment is a Swisscom subsidiary, and we range from cinemas, our cinema chain, sports production, sports pay TV, fiction, and partnerships, and revenues model. So my remit is basically everything that is running on screen, which is not sports, including all the partnerships with the streaming partners and content partners such as, but not limited to, Paramount, Canal+, Disney, Netflix, and so on. Okay,
Ross.
Hi everyone, I'm Ross. ITV, as people in this country will know, is the largest UK commercial broadcaster. We have a long history, kind of coming up to our 70th birthday soon. But my role previously to this one was the launch director for ITVX, which is the new streaming service that we launched at the end of 2022. My current role is director of operations for streaming, and so that's kind of overseeing all of the different elements of ITVX. It's an operating business, so the product and tech, but also the marketing and the content and distribution, etc. So we've got lots of talented people in ITV. I guess my job is to bring all those talented people together into a single team to deliver against them.
And it has to be said, sometimes when a new name comes along, it's just the same old service with a different colour. ITVX is distinctly different, both in the technology and also the content, which is on the platform compared to its predecessor.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad you said that. That's what I would have said. So you're right, the product is a big step change from what we had before. We're moving it, and the idea was to move it away from just being seen as a kind of catch-up service. You know, if you missed Coronation Street, this is where you go, which is what ITV Hub was, into a content destination, really. And one of the things that we did was introduce the concept of ITVX exclusives, which were every week, we would put something on ITVX that you couldn't find anywhere else. It's kind of a windowing strategy where it was on there before it hit any. I
was going to say some of those shows do find their way onto, I don't want to call it ITV proper, but ITV1, I guess.
Yeah, that's right. And so
Anglia still, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, yeah. So it's flipping on its head. So some of our premium properties, so Spy Amongst Friends with Damian Lewis, went onto ITVX first for a good 12 months before it hits the channels. You kind of get 2 bites of the cherry then in terms of you get a viewing bump when it hits the channel as well as your initial viewing bump on streaming.
And Antonella at Paramount.
Yeah, I'm the head of streaming at Paramount. So I'm the business owner for Paramount Plus, which is the AVOD service that I hope you all know. And I'm also the business owner for Pluto TV, which is our fast channel service. So it's very interesting for me because we have to deal with the different issues the challenges that we find in the markets. Paramount Plus is present in France and in Italy, and Pluto TV is also in Spain. And as you said, I'm the head of the streaming for Middle East and Africa, not yet there.
But soon, yeah. one would assume.
Hopefully, yes.
Hope so too. And Marco, you're Managing Director of M7 in Germany, but of course there are very strong Canal Plus connections.
Yeah, very strong. Yeah, actually, we were acquired by Canal Plus, I think, 2 years ago. So we are a bit complicated to explain, but there's the Canal Plus group, which is part of Vivendi. Then within Canal Plus group, there's Canal Plus International, which is everything outside of France. And there is then the M7 group, and we do basically the European footprint, where we have a lot in the Balkans, in Switzerland, and in the DACH region, where I'm responsible for the B2B business. And yeah, we started, so I think everyone can see we're getting more and more also in the DACH area as a Canal Plus brand. We started an SVOD service in Austria a year or 1.5 years ago, and now expanding this one as well. We already have something in Switzerland where we do, and in Germany we have roughly 150 network operators where we more or less do the whole television from licensing, technology, and also marketing, serving 4.5 million households there. So that's roughly what we do or what I do.
It feels strange to ask the first question, because all of you, I think, can give recent success stories of launches which have gone well. But it does at the same time feel over the past 12 months or so that maybe streaming and OTT is going through a bit of a post-COVID wobble. And I'm wondering, we'll start with you, Marco, your thoughts is, as we see more services launching, general expectation, they can't all survive, or can they?
No, it's funny because we actually discussed that just before the panel. So pre-COVID, it was a bit of a gold rush feeling, at least on our side. You saw a lot of investment going into content. Netflix gaining subscribers like crazy. Everyone thought, okay, we need also a direct-to-consumer proposition and grow. And now I think we are getting a bit more in a saturated market, and you see it's actually really hard work to have a profitable content business, to have a good CPO.
And you can sense some of the companies getting a little bit of cold feet, pulling back ever so slightly, licensing that show that was, Westworld is a good example, sci-fi series which ran on HBO, in the UK on Sky, and before I had a chance to watch it, it was off. And it's ridiculous. Normally you'd expect shows to hang around for, not quite ever, but for years rather than months.
If you take Disney, for example, they announced, I don't know, a year or 1.5 years ago, every new content and IP will be solely on our service. We will strip down the linear channels. They closed in Germany, for example, a channel. And now you see they're opening up again and saying, hey, monetizing content via different windows and different players makes sense. And at the end, this is how the business case works. So you see a lot of consolidation, and the big ones will be there. Paramount, Disney, and so on. They have the IP. But I think there's a lot of consolidation which will go on.
Walter, from your perspective, do you think that it's the importance, isn't it, of the streaming services adding to content alongside the established local, commercial, public broadcasters, and of course it seems strange to think of pay TV as traditional, but I guess it probably is now, particularly when there's streamers, but that sort of driving the value in terms of enjoyment of the content up, probably driving the prices up half the time as well.
Combining stuff is, first of all, I would have to say, streamers can do one thing very good, is create buzz about their content. Telcos and platform cannot, usually. Telcos and platform can supply good customers and targeted customers, and this way you can bring this together in a smart way. I think this is why we're all talking to each other and trying to get to this aggregator strategy. Ourselves, we are still sourcing our own content and putting it into pay TV packages. We're just launching a package together with Paramount and Disney and Sky Cinema and our own content.
So in a single package, all of those big names.
Launching next Wednesday. Reason still why we still do our own sourcing is leverage and independence, right? Because as much as you are friends with the streamer, as little do you know about the strategy next year. And to keep your own at least knowledge and resources on the topic where you can in a quick time regain at least some form of independence, for us is quite important. So as a platform, you need to find that middle ground of going with big brands who supply great content, and your own independence, not just in terms of content, but also in terms of, controlling pricing and everything that is difficult in such a partnership.
And Ross, within this, there is the role of the public service broadcasters, and I guess people here will be familiar with the concept of ITV being both a commercial channel and at times fairly heavy public service obligations, particularly in regional broadcasting. Being able to push through local content is, even in a market like the UK, where it feels strange, but it's needed to give the cultural value almost at times.
Definitely, and I think that we see ourselves as providing that with ITVX and ITV, and it's one of our differentiators compared to a Netflix or a Disney. They do venture a bit into local content, but they are mostly kind of global.
Some of it is what I think we used to call Euro pudding.
Yeah.
You'd
yeah. No,
remember a Sky series which basically had a lead actor from every European country going. It was,
yeah. No, exactly. I think that we pride ourselves on being in touch with the UK market in particular, and you talk about. I think your question is there enough space for all these OTT services? I think there are different flavours of OTT service. I think they're just a natural, pure OTT Netflix. It's probably Netflix and maybe Disney, and even Disney are now struggling with it. Probably some of the only ones that could just win on an OTT strategy. But I think if you use it as a part, it's a distribution channel, right? It's kind of is a part of a suite of other distribution options, and I think you can be successful. And I think that we're seeing that more and more now. And ITV know our place. Our place is the UK market. We do have with BritBox International, we have an international footprint, but mainly ITVX in particular is a UK-focused proposition, and so it's about winning in our UK home market that we know well. And so it's partnering with the likes of kind of CBS and others who can use us as a shop window when they're not so big in this market, and then vice versa in others. So,
but we all know who the parent company of CBS is, of course.
Yeah.
This is and this is the strange thing, because you have I can't remember the names of the holding companies anymore, but effectively Paramount Global is the ultimate owner of Channel 5 in the UK. We have Discovery Channel with interests in the Scandinavian market, and I'm sure we can come up. There is still this overlap between traditional broadcasting and the new world. In fact, one could argue that the ones who are most successful in the new world are those who are successful in the old world.
Yeah, well, I mean, I ultimately don't think that the new world is actually all that different from the old world, and some caveats. But it's about content. It's about producing, acquiring, and distributing fantastic content that people want to watch. And ultimately, that's what an OTT is, just part of that strategy. And if you have great content and great IP and you're able to exploit it and monetize it in ways that make sense for your core competence or your business, that's the key for me. So we lean heavily into AVOD, and that's one of the things we did with ITVX is we have got a subscription service, but it's a kind of advertiser-led proposition. Others flip that on the head because they come from.
Am I right in thinking you're going to be stopping on the free end of the service? You will stop people whizzing forward through the ads?
Well, I think you can't whiz forward through the ads on our ITVX free service, but if you don't like the ads, you can pay for ITVX Premium.
As does Mrs. Clover, can I say?
Yeah, okay. Yes, yeah. So that is right, but yeah, I think you're right. It's a very merged world. It's complicated. Different businesses have different business strategies, and there's not just one winning approach. I think we're seeing more and more now that it's not. Everyone went through the route of let's just copy Netflix, and then realised that their business wasn't set up to copy Netflix. And so they've come back round to some of their more core competences as companies, I think.
And if I may say,
it's
a lot more about partnerships. I mean, Netflix, they started and more or less, they brought out their app. They were the first ones and had a huge success now. But all second tiers and even Netflix are thinking much more about partnerships and individual models per country, per continent, so on.
I guess as an example, we've heard of them being bundled in with other players, amongst them Paramount, and I guess in how to roll out quickly. It was a pretty good example, with the complication of Sky Showtime coming in a couple of markets. But
like the challenges.
Well, yeah, just to it was obviously going too well in the Nordics or something.
No, too easy. Paramount Plus, of course, is the last, but there will be others after. It's true, it's crowded, the market is already settled. A lot of people have already more than one subscription. So yes, it was a challenge to enter so aggressively in the international markets, but it's a must because of the brand. The brand is aspirational and is also recalling the high quality of the movie, and this is something that we recognize every time across the researches that we have very often across the year. But we decided to have to put the same high quality also in the TV shows, so to accelerate the process that the others started. So when you arrive as the last one, it's true, you have to run, but you have also the learnings from the others. So it was exactly what Marco was saying. We do not have a flat one-fit-for-all strategy. We have a customized strategy for every market, and we leverage a lot on the strong relationships that Paramount, as the big company, has built across the years.
Yeah, I was going to ask, it's anyone can launch on Apple TV and Google. It's not quite as simple as that, but that's the easy bit. Yeah. Arguably, you still have to convince people like Canal Plus, Sky, etc., in order to get the presence on their platform.
But this is why it's relevant to have a strong partnership in every market, because, for instance, in Italy we have the partnership with Sky, in France with Canal Plus, in other markets, of course, other strong partners, but thanks to them you can accelerate the penetration of the market, and you can immediately acquire big enough size to be relevant also in the discussion with people. Because when you launch a very nice TV show but nobody is talking about it, it's like you don't have it. So the interesting of having those big support from the main partner is because they allow people to understand and to talk about the content. Then of course we have other kind of relationships with smaller partners. So we have what Malte was saying, we allow hard bundles. So the combination of our service, our direct-to-consumer service that is bundled together with other direct-to-consumer services, or you allow other partners like Amazon, for instance, to sell it as a top-up offer. So you are a customer of Prime Video, and if you want, you add an additional price and you can get the content, in this case, throughout their platform. So there are different formulas, and we adapt these business models according to the different markets, because we understand that the service, let's say the main service, the main Paramount Plus offer is defined in US, and this is a fact. I mean, it's clear.
Which means Star Trek, means Yellowstone,
South Park, and
Frasier,
so
I guess, the other most recent one,
yes,
which has given you a publicity buzz, I would argue.
Yeah, but it's a good example. For instance, you have Frasier, which is massive in UK, Canada, okay, all the Anglo world. Is not exactly as strong in Italy nor in France, because I mean, especially comedy is something that has to be local. So we launched.
Can't you just dub it and change the joke?
No, it's not the same. So we launched, for instance, a very strong TV shows in Italy with one of the main, or maybe now the most important comedian in Italy, which is Carlo Verdone. And it was massive in Italy. It was breaking a lot of very good figures and records within the international market, but it's local. This is a local content. And this recalls me what you were mentioning, meaning that you have a very strong IP offer decided in US and maintained in US. Then you have acquisitions that are locals, and you have also productions that are locals. And you try to accommodate or to satisfy the target that you have in that market, trying to understand where is the missing part. So the comedy is local, and it is sorry, but it's Frasier is
no, absolutely.
We saw the figures. Why didn't push Frasier? You push in a shy way, because it's not working as strong as in UK or in Canada, for instance. But we are pushing a lot other comedies. So we try to have a local strategy that is supporting the strong IPs and the very high quality movies that comes from Paramount Pictures and are ingested into the Paramount Plus offer. But this is done with different models that can change according to the single markets. As I said, in France, we have also another limitation, which is related to the partner that we have. Canal, your Canal, Canal is of course the main operator that they have, the main pay TV operator in France, but they also are owning the rights for a long period. So even our content, even the movies that we put out in the theater are 17 months stuck before you can get them into Paramount Plus. So you have to satisfy the need of the customer in a different way, and so you have the acquisitions. At the end, if you look at the service in the different countries, you find a basic service with the IPs, strong IPs, so Star Trek that you said, for instance, but you have also other contents that you try to adjust also to according to the partner.
And is it then possible to be distinctive? In other words, you're taking that core content from the US, but you're supplementing it with local content. Is there then a thought to make it Paramount content as opposed to just doing a comedy show for a particular market because for whatever reason they don't like Frasier?
Yes, sure, but you have to be also careful because since the market is crowded, some space is already settled somewhere else. So it's like, why you want to go against Netflix? Maybe it's not the right move. So you should look for who is your target, who are you talking to, and then you try to understand which kind of content are fitting and what are you missing or what you would like to offer to our main target is the family. So what are you missing to go to the family? And our opportunity is that we are the last one, but we have a brand that we are establishing, so a brand identity that we are building, starting from the movies, but not only the movies. Other brands are trying to adjust because they already have the boom of their offer. Now they have to grow and they have to extend their identity. We are at the beginning, so we can leverage with this. And so even trying to understand, as Malte was saying, you have to invest a lot of money. Yes, we are spending a lot of money in marketing because we have to announce what we have. It's not clear to the final customer what's Paramount Plus, and will be the same with the next one. What's this? What's in? I can understand that they can have the movies. Why I should join? So you try to have a massive communication. For instance, in Italy, we also decided to do something different, a bit stronger, which is sponsorship. A sponsor, we are the sponsor of one of the main soccer team because the big brand in the jersey is communicating that you want to be high quality, is Serie A soccer. So you want to be even in this case,
and it doesn't matter if you don't have the rights to show the match, because the person who does is showing your advert every time that team plays.
Yeah, but you know that the Serie A is broadcast across the international market.
Yes.
So we are not selling, but in US we are selling. The combination is really strong. So we are trying also to do some activity like this because we want to accelerate the go-to-market to the final customer.
One of the other things I notice broadcasters or streamers doing, and Ross, this is something I think you alluded to earlier actually with the CBS relationship, is putting content on the streaming service, ITVX, from other people, from third parties. And I wonder if you could perhaps elaborate a little bit more about that. I mean, the concept of ITV being the home to, I don't know, AMC content or whatever it might be. It's I don't know, it's one of these adjustments you have to make in your head, I suppose, as a viewer.
Yeah, definitely. And I guess you're right. The challenge is how does it make sense for viewers? Because it's having different brands and different types of content where you might not expect it. But it was one of the things that we set out when we set out the ITVX content strategy, is that we wanted to have content on there that people wouldn't expect from ITV. So we have got CBS and AMC content. We have got anime content on there, which you would definitely not see on ITV1. But I think that and the way we've done that, actually, particularly in those examples, is through content partnerships. So it's not just a straight content acquisition, which obviously we do some of as well, but it's a kind of win-win for both sides. So in those examples, those content providers want the shop window that ITV provides and ITVX provides. So we have huge moments where huge numbers of people come into our service, and whether that's for a big drama we've just launched, or whether it's to watch the Rugby World Cup, which we had exclusive rights to just recently, and we have massive amounts of people, millions of people that come in single days or weeks, and they don't in this market. So it's a shop window. It's just them exploiting their content and monetizing it in new ways. So that's what we're helping them to do, and obviously it helps us as well. And so it's that kind of symbiotic.
So how does it work for them? If I'm a third-party channel, I'm bringing, I don't know, a selection of my content to you. Are you just simply paying me for it, or is it more complicated?
Well, yeah, I mean, every deal is different, as you would expect.
And I realise you can't. There's have to be very broad brush.
Yeah, but very broad brush. It's kind of it's revenue share. So, you know, if you get viewers to your content on our platform, obviously we can measure that, and we we're transparent with the viewing they get to their shows on our platform, and you essentially strike up a pay away deal. So you get X for each view, whatever it might be. And it's a way of, it kind of de-risks it from our perspective, because you're not shelling out a lot of money up front for content that might not perform. It also, they've got skin in the game to promote content and to make it successful. So we've seen it's worked quite well, I think. I mean, I would say it's worked well. You'd have to ask the other partners as well if it's worked well for them, but I think they would say the same. So it's definitely, it's a kind of new and slightly novel way to kind of expand your content offering. And again, it's kind of market specific. That works in the UK, but it could be that in another market, and it definitely is in another market, that we would be the aggregated content onto another service.
Yes.
So it depends on your geography, really.
No, it's an interesting one. Malta, you were saying earlier on about the bundle of Paramount and Netflix. Could your platform be used to, I don't know, bring in the kind of people that are coming to ITV or others, to give them a wider availability within the Swiss market?
Well, Swisscom Blue TV is about in 40% of all TV households have a Blue TV IPTV, and we carry quite a bit of channels, actually. And I don't know whether you know, the free TV experience in Switzerland is kind of heaven, right? You can skip 7 days back.
I seem to remember being in Switzerland and being able to receive in my hotel room more BBC and ITV channels than I could actually get at home.
Exactly. And you can rewind for 7 days and then watch it again and again. So for us, the challenge is really picking the right stuff and and equipping the storefront window, right? Choosing what goes on, what drives sales, what drives viewership, what keeps, for us important is what keeps our customers happy. And that might be content occasionally from BBC, that might be the reunion from Friends. Now, unfortunately, that Matt Perry has passed away. So our strength is basically drawing from a vast pool of content and striking, as you said, on a different basis, smart deals. Maybe in Switzerland with the additional complexity of 4 different languages that we cater. So French, Italian, German, and English. And that makes it a little bit more complicated and very granular, but in principle we share the same experience. You try to get good content and good deals and put it in front of people and try to leverage that content for your own platform.
Marco, it does give some opportunities, doesn't it? I would imagine that the Canal Plus brand and some of Canal's original material through the work they've been doing, well, as part of your company, M7, is managing to get it far more widely available than ever was the case previously.
Yeah, exactly. This is what we're doing, and I think that's our mission and why Canal Plus has acquired us. At the end, the core, they are a European content producer. They have Studio Canal, for example, as one of the biggest studios and distributors. And at the end, our mission is to create in Europe, I would call them monetization pipelines, so possibilities to monetize content in different ways. And I think we've heard here, you have per country individual models. We have, I think, with almost everyone, not with ITV, but all the rest, we have partnerships here. on the panels. So in multiple ways, and that is exactly what we do. Is our mission is to be a European player and
the content
have the
isn't
European
necessarily in French, isn't it? It will be in English and many other languages too.
Exactly. I think at the end, the idea is you have a lot of US players. You have local players like ITV or RTL, for example, in Germany. And what we are looking at is more the European level, where we're saying, hey, there could also be a European player of scale.
How easy is it to, I guess you can use the Canal brand to be able to either place yourself somewhere else or attract content in the other direction to a M7 run service?
Yeah, so I mean the Canal Plus brand is known on different levels in the countries. So obviously where French is spoken much more, or also in the French part in Romandie in Switzerland. In Austria there was also a bit of known. So you have the challenge to get the awareness and to build awareness. Invest very heavily, like Paramount, like you said, is doing to bring that brand. But in total, that's interesting. You always have a certain level of people known or have heard about Canal Plus. And also, if you say then, hey, you know the Studio Canal opener of content at the beginning when you start to watch the content, then that's Canal Plus. So yeah, there's already some brand knowledge there, and you can leverage and build on that. And also in Austria, we managed very quickly to get to a good awareness of the Canal Plus brand.
And can you've like Paramount, as you've demonstrated, it can use, I guess it's not just the name, but it's the content and the, I guess, about the history and the library again.
Well, we also leverage on the multiple brands. Multiple brands is the streaming, Paramount Plus, and the Pluto TV to make customers understanding what's in. But we also leverage on the different business units that Paramount has. And it's true, I mean, we are a very flexible company from this perspective. We are small, very flexible, meaning that we have different business models that we empower, or we increase the light on one instead of the other according to even where the market is going. So we have also Paramount Pictures, which is the production of the movies. Then we have the consumer products. So when you have Paw Patrol or SpongeBob, they are Paramount. So when you sell puppets, even in a house, you recognize the icon, the IP. And so when you see it in the streaming service, it's something that you already recognize. So even using this kind of awareness, the awareness of the IPs, but also the characters, is really helpful because you leverage on the channels that you were distributing before. So Nickelodeon is still distributed in several countries, but you associate your brand with some of those characters. That's why we think that it's very useful to have this mutual support because we can support the telcos or aggregator platform in being one of the most watched content for some families, but we do not have the strength to arrive to every single family. So we are supported by, in this case, for instance, Wiscom, because we are ready to be subscribed from customer that you can reach in a digital way. Some others are lazy or are more difficult to convince, and then you go through the telco. So we believe that is a mutual understanding and mutual support, and as a partnership it has to be win-win, otherwise it's not working.
Ross, we've mentioned partnerships before. I wonder if there's already quite a bit of cooperation between the UK public broadcasters. Do you think it could go further in the streaming world, or is maybe the UK market is just fine as it is?
A collaboration between UK...
A collaboration between UK broadcast. I guess you've got BritBox to a certain extent, at least overseas. I know that in the UK, BritBox is effectively ITV only now, at least in ownership, although I realise there's still some BBC content as part of your BritBox offering. But is there more of a scope for a coming together, locally or internationally?
I mean, never say never in the long term. You never know with these things. But I think our current strategy is BritBox, is I suppose our combined content offering. And you're right, it is owned by ITV now. I think there is more and more potential to come together and work together on some of the more back-end stuff, actually. So, you know, we're all going through, and not just in the UK, so we could do this across Europe, in theory. You know, we're going through, and I think some of the other panels you had earlier were talking about the transition between linear to streaming and just the rising costs on both sides, and it's difficult to square that away when viewing and revenues are challenged at the same time. But we have a lot of the same challenges when it comes to kind of streaming infrastructure and tech platforms, and I think we could do more in that space. I think there's still a lot of broadcasters and companies who are trying to forge their own path, building their own tech platforms, their own infrastructure off the back, and it doesn't seem like the smartest way to do it, potentially. So I think that in that space, I think we could probably do more. I think in the kind of, for the moment, we're quite clear on our content and propositional strategies, and they're separate. So we've got ITVX, obviously, you've got iPlayer, and you've got Channel 4, and BritBox is that kind of aggregated view that we have internationally. Mm.
It's interesting you mentioned BritBox, though. I remember when ITVX launched. I remember the numbers were made public at the time, but the fact that there was like one set of viewers who was BritBox, and there was another set of viewers for the old ITV Hub paying for the ad-free option, and the fact that there was so little overlap was quite a surprise. Did it surprise you at the time?
Well, there is some overlap for a start, but no, I don't. Not necessarily, because they are different propositions. So ITV Hub Premium, or ITV Hub Plus, we called it at the time, very much was ad-free ITV catch-up, and that was, you know, you watch the soaps, you watch Love Island, and you don't want to watch the ads, so you subscribe, and that was the offer of ITV Hub Plus. BritBox is and was a different offer. It was kind of archived PSB content across all the PSBs, some exclusive content within there as well. It was more of a content-based offer than an ad. You weren't buying it for the ad-free, you were buying it for the content proposition. So they are very different customer propositions.
I wonder if going forward across all the streamers, that perhaps suggests that there is a market for multiple streaming services, or to be precise, for consumers to pay for multiple streaming services, providing that they are distinctive from one another.
Yeah, I think so, and I think you want to be clear what your market is and what you're trying to be, and if you want to be a niche OTT service, and you know the audience you're going after, and you have a way of monetizing that, whether that's through advertising or subscription or a combination of the two, then that can work. Not everyone can be a Netflix and be a global super player. But that doesn't mean you can't have a successful business. But
you can still be number one in your own local market.
Yeah, either number one in your own local market or number one in your own content genre that's niche. And so I do think you're right. There is space for more than one OTT service. I think what we will see more and more of is the kind of aggregation of those services into kind of telco platforms or whatever. So it's just easier for consumers to find it all in one place.
So the kind of thing that Lotte is doing, on Swisscom, it almost becomes the norm, and it's almost like Back to the Future. Those days when you'd have been aggregating Disney Channel, Nickelodeon.
It's all coming back, right?
Yeah.
So Netflix, for one, proposed, this is the streaming. We have a small price, no ads. Look at what we are doing now. Everybody's adding an ad tier. Everybody's trying to get different revenue streams, and we know that customers may be having 2 subscriptions or maybe 3, but they'll be churning in and out those subscriptions more often than not. What we call the tourists. Go in for a month, binge everything, go out again. So I think the value we're bringing to the table with bundling is exactly stability to the market. Getting a customer, not to worry about several subscriptions, getting a fair price in front of the customer, and in return the customer gives us some loyalty, which we in return then pass on to the streamers. I think that's a very valuable part in this whole mix. You will target your own audiences, niche or not, on a B2C basis, but this will be in the long run not enough to have a sustainable, healthy business.
And when you're offering your bundle of streaming services, are you
Supermax.
within that giving
Supermax.
Sorry,
No, I haven't said that.
branding is lost on me. You know, it's still the post office tower as far as I'm concerned, because that's what it was called first time around. When you're offering those services, are you also giving consumers the option to go for the ad version, the ad-free version, or how does that work?
In this case, everything is ad-free. We have a monthly or a yearly option, but in terms of, for example, those who have several tiers, like Disney, the customer can, upgrade that specific streamer to a higher tier. So we try to have as much flexibility for the customer as possible. Have a base proposition, and if the customer wants to individualize as much as possible as we can support it, we support it. But that's a procedural nightmare. Don't try this at home. It took us now 1.5 years to get this done with Paramount and Disney. That's not for everybody.
So now we know it works for you, it's going to take the next person 1.5 years before they get their multi-offer up and running. Marco, do you think that all of the streamers are going to be pushed completely towards the ad market? We're not going to see a scenario where it's completely ad-funded, or one which is currently having a premium option attached, or what's the sort of the prospects?
I think if you want to, over midterm, if you want to offer premium content, at one point in time, I'm pretty confident that this is a natural evolution. You will have to also have a hybrid model. So once you have a reach in a market, then advertisers will also ask, or you identify, okay, there is some money, some potential which you have not touched yet. And also content costs go up and up and up. So I'm pretty sure, and the others already started, Netflix and Disney and so on. So if they have an additional revenue source, you have to play the same game, otherwise...
I find it very strange. It's not that long ago that we were told that we're all fed up with adverts and that these high-quality premium streamers won't have any ads. And now I'm told that we all love ads again.
Yeah, I don't know if you love it. I mean, you have the option. Sometimes, or back in the days, you didn't have the option. Now you have the option. Do I want to pay less with advertising, or do I want to have the premium version without advertising? But at the end, I think most of the players, and if you want to have premium content, not on niche content, smaller content, maybe then you have just an SVOD or just an AVOD solution or fast solution. But if you want to have premium content, you're playing in global. You're playing against the other players.
A balancing act. I've been thinking that at ITV, probably the people who are paying to, I don't know if include my wife in this or not, but the people who are paying for not to see the ads are just the demographic that the advertisers want to reach.
Yeah, well, potentially, and it's tricky, and I mean, ultimately, where you want to get to. And this is not easy, and I'm not saying that we've cracked it, but if you can work out your kind of lifetime value of different users, and so what's more valuable? Is this person more valuable to us watching ads, or is this person more valuable to us watching as being a subscriber? You can't force them to be one or the other, but knowing what you're trying to aim for can help you pitch your price points, help you market to the right segments in the right way. So, but I definitely think the future is hybrid, because it's just, as I said at the start, it's not that different from before. It's about quality content, exploiting it across different windows and different monetization methods. And if you've got a sunk cost in some IP and you can monetize it through different methods, then why wouldn't you do that?
Yeah, I think it's possibly a good point to draw a line under this particular...
Yes, if I just can add a point.
You can.
We are fighting for the attention of the customer as a streamer. So we know that the attention is low. They have a restricted time, and so you are fighting for that time. So if you are alone in your direct-to-consumer, you have to reach the customer. When you are in those platforms, you have to fight with the platform to be promoted, because the merchandising, what we call content merchandising, so how the content is shown, makes the difference for us. So if you are in the first position, in the third position, so the fight is a different fight, it's a collaboration in this case. But it's true that you have to be relevant. And even in the models with advertising, you have to create a critical volume to be able to collect enough money. So, for instance, just to give the example that we have with the fast channel with Pluto, we did a research on the customers. In this case, Pluto TV is only advertising based. Okay, there is no option of removing the advertising. Is library content, but very nice library content. So customers declare that for them is not a problem to watch the advertising because the advertising is targeted. So they don't feel it as intrusive. So you can keep the attention even if they have the advertising, you collect advertising, but the main thing is that you have to reach that customer that has to choose you before the others. And this is the challenge that we are all having.
It's a case of normal rules apply really on that, isn't it, as much as anything else? Well, thank you all very much for your time on the panel this afternoon.